In a quiet neighborhood outside Chicago, a young woman named Emma lived with her stepmother, Karen. From the outside, their house looked peaceful. A neat front yard, white curtains, and colorful flowers made it seem like a happy home. But inside those walls, Emma's life was far from happy. Emma had lost her mother when she was only 8 years old. A few years later, her father remarried. At first, Karen treated her kindly, but after Emma's father passed away unexpectedly, everything changed. Karen began seeing Emma not as family but as a burden. Every day, Emma cooked, cleaned, did laundry, and took care of the house. She had dreams of finishing college and building a career, but Karen constantly told her she was worthless. One afternoon, while Emma was preparing lunch, there was a knock at the front door. Karen opened it and saw a young homeless man standing outside. His clothes were worn out, his beard was untrimmed, but there was something honest in his eyes. "Ma'am," he said politely, "do you have anything to eat?" Karen rolled her eyes. "You look healthy enough to work," she snapped. The young man lowered his head. "I've tried. Nobody wants to hire me." Emma walked over with a glass of water. As she handed it to him, their eyes met. The man smiled softly. "Thank you." For a moment, Emma saw something she hadn't seen in years: kindness. Then Karen laughed loudly. A cruel idea suddenly entered her mind. "If you want help," she said sarcastically, grabbing Emma's arm, "take her with you. She's nothing but a burden anyway." Emma froze. The homeless man looked shocked. "Ma'am, I can't take her. I don't even have a place to live." But Karen didn't care. "As far as I'm concerned, she's not staying here anymore." Emma's heart broke. She looked at Karen one last time, hoping she would change her mind. She didn't. That was the moment Emma realized she had never truly been loved in that house. She quietly packed a small bag and walked out the front door. The homeless man followed behind her. "My name is Jake," he said. "I'm Emma." That night, they ended up near an old train station. Rain started pouring from the sky. The wind was cold. Jake took off his only blanket and handed it to Emma. "What about you?" she asked. Jake smiled. "I'll be okay." He spent the entire night freezing while Emma stayed warm. The next morning, she woke up to find Jake holding 2 cups of hot coffee. That simple act changed something inside her. For the first time in years, someone had cared about her. Days later, Emma learned Jake's story. He had lost both parents when he was young. Relatives had taken everything he owned. Every time he tried to rebuild his life, something went wrong. But despite everything, he remained kind. Emma couldn't stop thinking about one thing. "This man doesn't need pity," she thought. "He needs a chance." A few days later, she saw a sign outside a warehouse. "Help wanted." Emma immediately took Jake there. The manager looked skeptical. "Him?" Emma nodded. "Just give him one chance." Something in her confidence convinced the manager. Jake got the job. It wasn't easy. Long hours, heavy lifting, exhausting work. But Jake showed up every day. He worked harder than anyone else. Weeks turned into months. Eventually, Jake saved enough money to rent a tiny apartment. It wasn't much. 1 bedroom, old furniture, bare walls. But for Emma and Jake, it felt like a palace. For the first time, they had peace. In the evenings, Emma helped Jake learn to read and write better. They spent hours practicing together. Sometimes they laughed. Sometimes they shared stories about their past. Slowly, a friendship began turning into something deeper. One rainy evening, they stood under a store awning waiting for the storm to pass. A strong gust of wind nearly knocked Emma off balance. Jake quickly caught her hand. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Their eyes said everything. Months later, Jake earned a promotion at work, then another, and another. The warehouse owner noticed his honesty and dedication. Soon, Jake became a supervisor. His confidence grew. His life changed. One evening, he returned home carrying a small gift bag. Emma opened it. Inside was a beautiful blue dress. "My first real bonus," Jake said nervously. "I wanted to buy you something." Tears filled Emma's eyes. Nobody had ever done something so thoughtful for her. As time passed, their bond became stronger. Then one day, while sitting together in a city park, Jake finally spoke from his heart. "Emma," he said softly, "you gave me a future when nobody else believed in me." He took a deep breath. "I love you." Emma's eyes filled with tears. So do I. A few months later, they got married in a small ceremony surrounded by a few close friends. No luxury, no expensive decorations. Just love, and sometimes that's enough. Meanwhile, Karen's life was falling apart. People in the neighborhood learned how she had thrown her stepdaughter out. Her reputation was destroyed. Debt piled up. Legal problems followed. Then one day, authorities arrived at her house regarding financial fraud she had committed. As Karen stood outside in panic, a car pulled into the driveway. Emma and Jake stepped out. Karen couldn't believe her eyes. They looked happy, successful, peaceful, everything she thought they would never become. She broke down crying. "Please help me." Emma looked at her quietly. For a moment, painful memories returned. Then she spoke calmly. "The day you threw me away, you forgot I was family." Karen lowered her head. For the first time, she truly understood what she had done. Emma didn't seek revenge. She simply walked away. Because real success isn't about getting even. It's about moving forward. Years later, Emma and Jake stood together on the balcony of their beautiful home, overlooking the city lights. Jake smiled and squeezed her hand. "If you hadn't walked out of that house with me, I'd probably still be begging on the streets." Emma smiled. "And if you hadn't shown me kindness, I'd still be searching for a place to belong." They looked at each other and laughed. Sometimes life changes in the most unexpected ways. The person the world ignores today could become the reason someone else finds hope tomorrow. Never judge someone by where they are today. One opportunity, one act of kindness, and one person who believes in them can change everything. So, how did you like this story? Leave a comment, and please like and subscribe to the channel.